The phone booth started ringing at midnight, on a corner where no phone booth had stood for 20 years. I know because I deliver medicine at night, and I know every dead corner of that part of the city. There had never been a red phone booth beside the canal, but that night it was there, lit from inside, with rain sliding down its panes and a black receiver trembling on the hook. It rang 3 times. Then the metal sign above the dial changed. Caller pays with one memory. I should have kept driving. Instead, I parked the van, stepped into the rain, and answered. The voice on the line said, "Jonah." My mother's voice. She had been dead for 6 years. Before that night, I had simple habits. I sorted pill bottles in alphabetical order, ate toast over the sink, and never called anyone after 9 because late calls meant hospitals or apologies that came too late. My sister Ruth said I treated life like a route sheet. "You don't live anywhere," she told me the last time we fought. "You just arrive, drop something off, and leave before anyone can ask you to stay." That was 3 weeks before our mother died. Ruth had wanted me at the hospital overnight. I had a delivery run. Blood thinners, insulin, sleeping pills. I told myself I would go after. After became morning. By morning, my mother was gone, and Ruth would not look at me. So when I heard my mother's voice in that booth, I stopped being a sensible man. "Mum." There was a soft breath on the line, the way she breathed before correcting me. "You still say it like you're 12. My knees hit the metal shelf beneath the dial. "Where are you?" "Not where you think," she said. "Listen carefully. You get one question before the booth takes payment." I laughed once. It sounded wrong in the booth. "Payment?" "One memory," she said. "Shared by you and the person you call. Everyone else forgets it. You keep it." My mother never said payment. She used to say bills. Outside, rain ticked against the glass. My van idled by the curb. I thought about leaving. I thought about hanging up. Then I asked the question I had carried for 6 years. "Were you waiting for me?" The line went quiet except for her breathing. "Yes," she said, "but not the way you punish yourself for." I closed my eyes. "Jonah, I was waiting because Ruth was afraid. She said you would come if she called. I told her not to. I was wrong." I pressed my forehead to the glass. "I should have been there." "Yes," she said, not cruelly. "But grief has been making you useful instead of honest. Stop helping strangers so you don't have to sit with your sister." The line clicked. Something dropped onto the metal shelf. A white birthday candle, bent in the middle. I knew it at once. My 9th birthday. Power cut, kitchen dark. Ruth holding a flashlight under her chin while Mum stuck that crooked candle into a supermarket cake. At 3 in the morning, I opened the family photo box. The birthday was gone. There were pictures from 8 and 10. Nothing from 9. That year skipped like a scratched record. I called her before I could talk myself out of it. She answered on the 5th ring. "Someone better be dead. Do you remember my 9th birthday?" Silence. "What?" The power cut, Mum singing in the kitchen. "You had a flashlight." "Jonah, I don't know what you're doing. Please." Her voice changed, smaller. "I remember your 8th. You cried because Dad sent the wrong shirt, and your 10th when Mum let you cut your own fringe. But 9. She stopped. "Why can't I remember 9? I looked at the bent candle in my palm. "I need to show you something." Ruth came in her nurse's coat, hair still pinned badly from work. I told her everything because lying would have been easier, and I was tired of easier. "Are you mocking me?" "No. Because if this is your new way of apologizing, it is sick." Then I put the candle down. She picked it up and went pale. "I bought these," she whispered. "You remember?" "No." I just know my handwriting. On the paper sleeve, in purple pen, were the words, Jonah's emergency wish. Ruth used to label everything. Lunchboxes, chargers, Dad's keys. She sat down. Take me there? No. That was not a request. Ruth, it takes memories. It took one of yours. Ours. She looked at me then. Really looked. Then maybe it owes me a call. She took the candle before I could stop her. The booth was still there by the canal. Red light in the rain. The sign above the dial read, Caller keeps the memory. The other heart loses it. Ruth laughed under her breath. Of course it has terms. Ruth, wait. No, you waited 6 years. She stepped inside before I could stop her. The booth rang once. Ruth answered. I heard only her side. Mum? Her face broke so quickly I looked away. No, I stayed. He didn't. I stayed every night. The rain blurred her through the glass. Because I hated him, she said. Because if I didn't, I would have had to hate you for leaving us. She listened. Then she looked at me. Ask him yourself, she said, and held the receiver out through the door. I shook my head. Ruth covered the mouthpiece. She says she can't call twice, but she can pass the line. What's the cost? Ruth's mouth twisted. She says you already know. I took the receiver. My mother's voice was thinner now. Last question, Jonah. I had 100. Did it hurt? Were you scared? Did you forgive me? But the question that came out was smaller. How do I make Ruth remember me kindly? My mother was quiet for so long, the line seemed dead. You don't, she said. You give her new evidence. The receiver went cold. The dial spun by itself. Something changed in Ruth's face. She stared at me as if I had stepped toward her wearing a stranger's coat. Why are you holding my hand? I looked down. I was holding her hand. The memory came into me all at once, not like remembering, more like swallowing glass. Ruth was 16, I was 11, and Dad had left for good. Mum was crying in the bathroom. Ruth sat with me on the hallway carpet and held my hand for 2 hours, because I was too proud to cry unless someone made it look like an accident. Everyone else had forgotten it. Ruth had forgotten it. I was the only person left who knew she had saved me first. Jonah, her voice was cautious. The booth door swung open. The sign changed again. Debt remains until paid. The dial began to ring. Ruth stepped backward. What does that mean? I understood before I wanted to. The first call opened the door. The second invited what was hungry on the line. The receiver lifted an inch from the hook. My mother's voice came from it, no longer warm. Jonah, let me in. Ruth went rigid. That's not her. I know. Then why does it sound like her? The receiver lifted another inch. If it touched the air by itself, it would ring every lost person in the city. I stepped into the booth. Ruth grabbed my sleeve. Don't! You said it owes you a call. I was angry. You were right. The receiver trembled beside my cheek. Jonah, the false voice pleaded. Please, I'm cold. For 6 years, that sentence would have opened me. I looked at Ruth. Do you remember the hallway? She shook her head, eyes wet and furious. What hallway? After Dad left, you sat with me. You held my hand. I don't remember that. I do. Then keep it, she said. That was the worst mercy. I put the receiver back on the hook. The booth screamed with my mother's voice, then Ruth's, then mine as a boy. I kept my hand on the hook. No more calls, I said. The glass clouded from the inside. The red paint blistered. Every phone in the street began to ring. Flats above shops. My van. Ruth's pocket. Soon the canal sounded like people refusing to die. Ruth pressed both hands over her ears. Jonah! I held the hook down until the booth stopped pretending to be voices, until it became only a machine. Then quietly, it took payment. In the morning, Ruth did not remember coming to my flat. She remembered the canal, the booth, and our mother, but not what Mum had said. She remembered being angry at me, but the shape of it had changed. I remembered everything. Ruth looked lighter. I felt older. The booth was gone. In its place stood a wet rectangle on the pavement. Ruth asked if I wanted breakfast. It was the first ordinary question she had asked me in 6 years. I said yes before she could take it back. We went to a cafe near the hospital. Ruth ordered coffee. I ordered toast. Neither of us mentioned forgiveness. Halfway through breakfast, she moved the sugar away from my elbow before I knocked it over. She did it without thinking. She had done that when we were children. I remembered. She did not. That is how it has been since. Some days, Ruth calls. Some days, she does not. I stopped taking extra routes after midnight. I visit the hospital now. And once a month, I write down the memories only I still carry. The crooked candle, the hallway, my mother saying I had been wrong and loved in the same breath. Last week, Ruth found the notebook on my kitchen table. She read one page, then another. I expected her to be angry. Instead, she shut it like it had hurt her. "These sound like things I would have done," she said, "but they don't feel like mine." I said I was sorry. She took a pen and wrote under the last line, "If I can't remember saving you, at least I can believe I would." I keep that page folded in my wallet. I have not shown it to her again. But every so often, when I pass the canal after rain, I hear a phone ringing somewhere it should not. I do not answer. I go home. And if Ruth calls, I pick up before the second ring.